Welcome to the Positive Spiritual Living Podcast, brought to you by Unity on the Bay. This is your positive path for spiritual living.
Once again, I find myself standing before you feeling as though there's really nothing I need to say because it was just all said right there in the words to that beautiful song. Thank you, Dale. And it's especially relevant to me this morning. I promise you I'm going to go through a little emotional verklempt, they call it, just because it's been an incredible week for me. I was away for a while. I'm writing a book, actually, and been working on it for about 30 years, but it's starting to actually come into some specific format. And the book is about the importance of realizing what's important to you, not what's important to somebody who maybe was a part of your conditioning process when you were younger. You know, we all have a certain number of values in our life that we've accepted from other people, well-intentioned though they may have been. The question really is what's important to you. That's what matters, because you're responsible for creating your own value system, which in essence creates your own religion. An audacious thought, but one that takes up residency in my mind and heart more and more every day. It was about 3 weeks ago, I think, well, even before that, when I got a call from our own beloved Cindy Binder. Many of you, if not everybody, knows Cindy Binder. She called me to tell me that there was an opportunity that had come across in her experience to allow some individuals to receive the first vaccine. I know this is a controversial subject, and I've even debated it in my own mind. What's the right thing? I think every individual has to ask that for themselves. But for me, it was like, this is the right thing for me to do. So that took place whenever it was, several weeks ago. And then after I received that, I got a call from my daughter in Kansas City, Missouri, who was telling me that she had been found eligible. She does work with Catholic Charities as a social worker. So she was going to receive her vaccine. And she said, "Dad, Ashton and I are coming to Miami. This has been a sensitive subject for me because it's the first time in 20 years where I haven't seen anybody from my family for 20 years. I haven't had anybody in my condominium. Not for 20 years, but for 15 months or so, whatever it's been. I haven't had anybody in my automobile, and I haven't embraced anybody. I haven't hugged anybody. And I'm not trying to make this an exclusive scene here. I know that we've all gone through this experience in our own ways, respectively, and honor to all of that. And I was okay. Thank God I had these spiritual principles. Thank God we all have had these spiritual principles to steer us, to guide us through these experiences. She said, "We're coming to Miami." And it was like, well, I wasn't planning on this. And the universe said, good. It's good not to plan these things, over-plan these things. Anyway, I woke up Friday morning this last week. And I've come to the conclusion, I was debating this initially, I've never, ever felt my heart so full of gratitude, because at 11 o'clock Friday night, which is way past my bedtime, I was at Miami International Airport creating a new lake. So if you're there at the United Terminal and you see a lake in the middle of it's a lake of tears, because it had been so long since I'd seen these people. I mean, we watched each other on, Zoom and so forth, but we were together. And I just got down on my knees and I hugged that sweetheart like there was no tomorrow. And I've determined, and I try to do this every day, and I know you do too, but I determined, they're here until Wednesday morning, bright and early they depart. I'm going to be consciously present and aware of this experience like never before. And friends, here is one of the greatest benefits of everything we have traversed through over the last year. We have the opportunity now to never again take for granted a single moment that we are sharing in the presence of anyone that we love. And I mean, let's be real here. Life sometimes gets the better of us, and we take things for granted. There's so much now that as we begin this re-emerging into whatever you want to call it, the new normal, let's don't ever allow ourselves to go back to the way it was. Let's don't ever take anybody or anyone for granted. And let's savor the experience. Every day, every moment of this life is such a gift. Every breath you breathe, take no one and no thing and no breath for granted. So I was thinking this is Women's History Month. And since I have two of the most amazing women, and I've had a lot of amazing women, powerful women in my life. I'm looking at some of them right now. I thought, how appropriate to have Angela and Ashlyn here. The last time I saw them physically was in Christmas 2019. 2019 seems like a century ago, doesn't it? So that was the last time I saw them physically. They were last at Unity on the Bay in June of 2019, and I asked at that time if Ashlyn would come up and join me for a little conversation, which she did, and I asked her if she would do that again today, and she said that she would. So before we go any further, I want you to know that we're safe, even though we're close here this morning, because we're now sharing the same space. And it is just with great joy that I welcome back to Unity on the Bay, Ashlyn Grace Jackson. Oh, right. She says, you didn't introduce me as my mom, because the last time in June 2019 that I brought her up here, I said, welcome Angela Grace Jackson, which is her mother's name. So, yeah, I did it right this time, huh? Yes. You can take your mask off while you're up here. Can I just look at you? Wow. So good to see you. And you know what I said was true. I've been thinking about how I want to really just soak up and savor. And I appreciate that I keep telling you, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for getting on that airplane and coming to Miami. And I'm going to say that a lot before you depart, because I'm deeply grateful that you're here. So, what I wanted to talk to you about this morning is, how was it for you? Like, I've been really anticipating this trip. And whatever you say is just fine. If you say, well, I wasn't anticipating it at all, Grandpa. Did you anticipate it? Did you do anything in particular to get ready for it? You put that right up there.
I didn't really do much to get ready for it, but I sort of tried to forget about it so that the time that I was here, before I came, I wanted to sort of forget about it so that I would have my time there, and then I wouldn't just be focused on coming here, so that I wouldn't do my schoolwork. So
you know what we call that here?
What?
Living in the moment. And you actually did a better job with that than I did, because I was constantly thinking about when you were going to get here, which was drawing me a little bit out of the present moment. So when you were in Kansas City, you were in that moment, doing what was there for you to do. And then when you came here, now you're doing what's in this moment, which is including being up here with me now.
Yep.
So I have found you to be an extremely good teacher, almost from the beginning. I know that you, this morning, you said I think you said you'd rather not remember this, but I shared it with everybody at Unity on the Bay when it happened, because I was in Kansas City staying with you, and one morning I was sleeping on the sofa in your grandma's house where you were living at that time, and you were just about so much smaller than you are now. But you came in and you said to me, Grandpa, wake up. The sky is blue, the sun is shining, and we live on planet Earth. Do you remember that?
No, I remember one time when you were sleeping on the couch and I decided to also sleep on the couch, and I said, the sun is awake, the earth is awake, I'm awake, wake up.
You know, I actually think you remember that better than I do. It's all awake. But then I remembered the last line was, we live on planet Earth. And what was so valuable about that for me was that it made me stop in that morning and many mornings since and really think about, it's really pretty incredible that we're here, that we're alive, that we are waking up. Did you all wake up this morning? Did you really stop and think about how meaningful that is? That we slept through the night and we woke up this morning. Like there's miracles everywhere. Do you think?
Yes.
So is there anything that you could recommend to us this morning that would make us or help us be more aware of these miraculous things like waking up in the morning or special parts of life?
If you really think about something like, I'm trying to think of an example. Oh, well, like say someone, like they're going to somewhere just for fun, like you should really like cherish the moment, like stop somewhere through your day to think about the fact that you get to do this. This is something that you get to do. And more of try not to say like, but, like when you're talking to someone and saying, oh, like you really did a good job on this, but it sort of makes everything seem negative.
Yeah.
And like, so if you like put a compliment down and then you say, but, it sort of like throws everything that you said before down and puts a negative way to it. Same thing if you like say, no offense, but like, that just means like that you're probably gonna say something a bit rude. So it's in a way like you're saying, oh, sorry, but blah, 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 negative stuff.
Right. Yeah. Do I attract great teachers in my life or what? Well, I thank you, my dear, for being in Miami and for spending this time. What are we going to do this afternoon?
I'm pretty sure we're going to a hotel.
That's by the
Beach.
And you're rather fond of the beach,
Yeah.
aren't you?
I get to go fishing with a net.
All right. Well, we all pray that you find some great fish, and I'm deeply grateful, and I know everybody here is, and online as well, for your sharing your wisdom with us this morning. And by the way, I can do this. I love you. Can I help you down? And when are you going to get your ordination as a Unity minister, sweetheart? Oh, thank you for letting me share that joy in my life. And all of that was kind of beautifully timed because I had already decided that I wanted to share with you something I've shared many times, but it keeps growing inside of me. So here's the latest rendition. The art of waking up. And I speak to that subject on many levels. The art of waking up every morning, and there is an art. I'm going to share with you what I believe that to be this morning. And also the art of waking up from our conditioned thinking, our conditioned way of being. You know, well, this is the way things are. This is how it happens. I have a day, I'm tired, I'm ready to relax, I'm going to go crash for the night, I'll sleep for a while, wake up, and then there'll be another day. To really waking up to the miraculous nature of what a 24-hour period is. To not take it for granted, but to live in the recognition and the realization that every day, every moment, every hour, every passing year, whether it's the year of COVID-19 or the year of great triumph and success and overcoming for you, or whether those are one and the same, to not take anything for granted. And I think we're perfectly staged at this point because of what we've been through. You know, the only, maybe not the only, but certainly one of the most powerful benefits of being without is that whole thing of absence makes the heart grow fonder. Yes, for individuals, but for everything we may ever have taken for granted in our lives simply because we became routinized to it. It's just the way it is. No big deal. I woke up this morning. I'm breathing. I live on planet Earth. There's this sun. You know, it's so easy to forget what's going on around us out in space and just start to fall victim, if you will, to the, excuse me for saying, but the petty problems and difficulties that we allow to take precedence and priority in our own minds. Instead of realizing, just whatever it takes in this moment right now to realize I'm alive. And I have this sacred opportunity to hang out on this really beautiful planet. Not for a few seconds, not for a few days, but for a lifetime. And in a very real way, I think every day is a lifetime. So I've felt for many, many years now, and this is a big part of what I spent time writing about over the last 2 weeks, that every day is a new beginning. Every day is a new possibility. Every day is a great and miraculous gift from God. Now, I've shared that with you many times, but the additional twist that's come to me over the past few years has been that every day actually begins the night before. You know, when I was getting ready Thursday night, I'm a relatively clean person, but I must say I was surprised at how my condominium had gotten sort of dusty and dirty because I'm the only one there and I just didn't notice it. So I was cleaning, but there was this sense of anticipation, knowing the next day I was going to be in the arms of these two beautiful ladies that I love so much. There was a sense of anticipation. So I was already the night before getting ready for the next day, and I want to encourage you to do this every day. Don't take a single day for granted. Act as though the love of your life was going to walk off the plane the next day, and you were going to welcome them back into an environment that you weren't sure you were ever going to see them in again. That it's that priceless, that it's that exquisite. And what I mean by this is start to become aware of the environment in which you're going to fall asleep the night before you wake up to have the miracle of the next day. Check out where you're abiding at night. Is it a personal sanctuary for you, your bedroom? When you climb into sleep at night, what are the last thoughts on your mind? Can you take a moment just to say, wow, I'm so fortunate. I'm so fortunate. In my case, I get to look out at a beautiful view of the Biscayne Bay as I'm drifting off to sleep. In my case, and I'm deeply blessed and I know it and I take nothing for granted, I pull that comforter now that I've owned for probably 25 years. I'm sure it's time to retire it, but I love it so much, it's almost like it's a part of me. It's got so much of me in it. And I take a moment to ponder the day, to bring to mind anything where I may have been holding on to a resentment or felt that somebody wronged me or that I wronged somebody, to forgive, to forgive, to forgive. Everything unfolded today exactly as it needed to, regardless of my human judgments, mostly condemnatory to the contrary. So become aware. Join me in becoming aware. How am I going to fall asleep? Start tonight. Friends, there are certain practices that if you enter into them, they are life-changing, and they're life-changing relatively quickly. If you can just write a reminder to yourself that as you drift off to sleep tonight, you're going to be very conscious of the energy that you're going to move into the evening hours with, because that's the energy that's going to dwell with you and sort of as you throughout your sleeping hours. These appear to be unconscious hours, but they're only unconscious to the conditioned mind. They're quite conscious to the unconditioned mind. So what's the energy? What's the consciousness? What's the state of mind that I'm drifting off to sleep with? Because whatever I fall asleep with is what I'm going to wake up with. So you begin the night before and you become mindful of this, become mindful of the order and the energy and the environment that you're falling asleep in. Say thank you for everything. Well, I can't possibly be grateful for this unfortunate experience that happened to me today. Yes, you can. How many of you have been through unfortunate experiences? Hands? And how many of you have gone through an unfortunate experience only to realize that in your judgment of it being unfortunate, you were able to ultimately get to a place where you realized it blessed you? So be very cautious about these judgments as you're drifting off to sleep. No right, no wrong, no good, no bad. The field of neutrality, it was what it was, but it, like everything, is here to bless me. Now you've set the tone for falling asleep at night. And I believe that if you do this consciously and intentionally, you're going to find when you wake up in the morning, there's a different spirit about you. It's not going to be, just give me 5 more minutes, and you set the snooze button. What I have found is that when I'm more conscious of how I'm falling asleep, the moment that I wake up, I bring that energy and consciousness with me. And it's very, very powerful. I no longer struggle. It's not like, oh, I have to get up. I have to go through another day. It's like, I am ready for this day. I am on fire for this day to begin. I have all the energy that I need. The first 5 minutes, my dear friends, of your waking day are the most important because you've been asleep and your mind has gone into a realm where you have not been filled with conditioning. So it's very open. This has been proven in studies that your mind is very open. So the very first thoughts that you entertain when you get up in the morning are the most important thoughts that you will have all day. Whatever it takes. I've been eccentric and put billboards across the ceiling of my bedroom. That's something I don't think I've ever told anybody, but it's like, wake up, or whatever it is that will help me. Wake up to love, wake up to light. Be very conscious. You're going to be setting the tone for your entire day. Get up on the right side of the bed. What is the right side of the bed? I've heard always get up on the right side of the bed, but no one's ever told me which side is the right side. Left? Right? Yeah. Any side of the bed is the right side of the bed to get up on if you're in the right state of consciousness, you see, my friends. So get up on the right side. Take a moment to contemplate, just to be there with this. It's especially valuable for any kind of reflection or meditation of anything. For me, being what I'm trying to pursue is being truly a values-driven individual. So I go through my values every morning when I first get up. I just take a moment to think about unconditional love, number 1 value. Unconditional peace, number 2 value. And by the way, while I'm on that value, let me say, for those of you that are following our mantra words throughout March Meditation Madness, your mantra word for today is peace. So I contemplate the value of unconditional love, unconditional peace, unconditional joy, unconditional health. Whatever the diagnosis may be, whatever the symptoms may be or not be, unconditional health and wholeness, unconditional wealth. You know, for a while, I would talk about unconditional abundance or prosperity. But I decided, because my values are constantly evolving and I like trying on different ones, I'm going to go for wealth. It seemed a little audacious to me, and it seemed a little materialistic to talk about wealth, but wealth doesn't have to be limited to money or finances alone. You know, wealth, you can feel very wealthy and have very little simply because of what you're plugged into. Unconditional bond. And by that, what I mean is this that we share right now in this moment, what I'm sharing with Ashlyn, Angela, our family, our friends, our loved ones, the people that we share our space of employment with, the bond that we're privileged to share. So those are my values. I take time to review those. And then I have 3 statements that have been with me now for many years. I want to close by sharing these with you this morning and really take in these words, because if you can wake up with this kind of magic every day, I know you're going to find your life transformed into a field of constant miraculous activity. The first is from the philosopher Marcus Aurelius. When you arise in the morning, and you can do this with me right now, when you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love. What a great way to wake up. And the second 2 quotations I want to share with you are from the brilliant Ralph Waldo Emerson. To get up each morning with the resolve to be happy is to set our own conditions to events of the day. To do this is to condition circumstances instead of being conditioned by them. Are you with me on this? I'm going to condition circumstances instead of allowing myself to be conditioned by them. You're the caller of the shots here. You're the creator. You're the one with the God-given ability to imagine through your own power of thought what it is that every day is going to be for you. And finally, here's the best one of all. Write in your heart that every day is the best day of the year. Every day. Why is every day? Why is this day, this moment, right now, the best? Because it is all you've got. And furthermore, it is all that you need. The Spirit of God that created you will always contain within the 24 hours that lie ahead everything you need to fulfill your every heart's desire and to move you forward moment by moment in faith toward the life that you have always been intended to live, to liberate yourself from the conditioned mind that we've all adopted when we arrived here and stand in the certainty of who we are and what our potential may be. God bless you.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Positive Spiritual Living Podcast, brought to you by Unity on the Bay, a spiritual community located in Miami, Florida. Unity on the Bay is supported by the generosity of its community. If you'd like to make a donation or learn more about Unity on the Bay, please visit unityonthebay.org. You can also follow Unity on the Bay on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter for even more positive spiritual inspiration. Until next time, thanks for listening and many blessings. Namaste.